but I don't think I need you doing something cringe that's only going to be a 10-yard sack or like a
classic
pick six. I'm using sports analogies for you. Sorry.
Don't.
I know. I know.
I don't know what those are. Pick six, 10-yard sack. Is that close? Is that hard? Is that difficult? Please welcome to the stage California's own Congressman Eric Swalwell. Hi. Thank you for being here. Come in. Hi, Congressman.
How you doing? First time here. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
So you got into it with Kash Patel this week.
Yeah. Good fight with Swalwell is what he wrote.
Well, so I've seen people say
Did he write it before or after?
I wonder, though. I feel like he may be getting the bad rap here.
Yeah.
Possibly. Which is, did he write it or did somebody write it on a piece of paper and hand it to him? Because it feels like more like somebody handed him a note, right?
Right. But my thought was like, is he pumping himself up before I go? Or was this like Marvis Frazier after getting knocked out by Mike Tyson 30 seconds into the fight being like, good fight with Tyson? Like,
oh, I see what you're saying. Well, that's it. Right. So it's not good either way, right? So if he wrote the note himself, that's revealing. But if there's somebody that feels like they need to write the note to buck him up that says, good fight with Swalwell, hold the line, brush off the attacks, rise above the rest. You know, that's a sad thing to have to write on a piece of paper. Yeah. Though there have been moments in this show where that had been a smart thing for Bill to put on a card. never get a pump up like that mid-show. Just a card that says wrap it up. Sorry to make this about me. During those hearings, you asked Patel no less than 9 times if he told Pam Bondi that Trump's name appears in the Epstein files, and he declined to directly answer the question all 9 times. What do you think's going? That's not like it's not like he succeeded in dealing with the question. So what do you think's going on here?
They're afraid of telling us what Trump knows about this. He's not authorized to say anything about this, and he went into this hearing with one job, and that was to keep his job. And keeping his job means keeping all of us from knowing who's in the Epstein files. And so even saying that he told the Attorney General that Trump was in the files would mean that Trump's in the files, and that probably got to Trump, and that's why Trump is having them bury the files. I mean, he gets it, right? And then also the good fight with Swalwell thing, he needed to go into the hearing, have a fight with me, because if you recall, like 2 days before the hearing, there was a Fox News story with no fewer than 10 sources. Like, I've never seen a story that said we have 10 sources that said his job was on the line, quote, Pam can't stand him. So he knew, Pam can't stand him. So he knew his ass was on the line, and he needed to pick that fight and not make things worse on Epstein.
So there's something interesting that's happening, and I'm curious what you think about this, which is, obviously, we see how dangerous it is to have a completely politicized FBI director and attorney general. They're not even pretending that there's any kind of independence between the White House and the Department of Justice. But it also is a double-edged sword because nobody views him as a reliable narrator, and nobody views Pam Bondi as a reliable narrator. They're seen as spokespeople for Trump, which means there doesn't seem to be a lot of ways out of this scandal, whereas a previous administration might be able to say, we threw it over to the independent agencies.
That's right. Their job is to bury this a mile beneath the earth. And by the way, if anything comes out now about the Epstein files, I don't think anyone buys it at this point. I mean, it has probably been so scrubbed and erased that they have no credibility. I don't think he inspired confidence at all in the American people that he's able to do his primary job, which is fucking protecting us from terrorism, mass shootings, public corruption. And so we're still trying to understand, what did we know about the Kirk shooter prior to the shooting? Like, what was his online activity, and should that have been seen by the FBI? And now this Dallas shooting, which you referenced, it was clear that this troubled individual was also very online. And what should the FBI had known about that individual? So I think we actually have to start asking questions like, why do you guys keep missing these, political assassins, and what does that mean for the rest of us?
Yeah, there's a vicious circle, which is you have someone like Kash Patel so clearly in everything he does, desperate to keep his job and prove that he belongs in the job. And so in the aftermath of a shooting, he's like posting and posting and posting to prove like he's part of it. I'm part of it. I know what's going on. I'm helping. Meanwhile, he's kind of part of a culture of like jumping to conclusions about these serious crimes. And then we have absolutely no idea if we can trust what he says in the days after because he is so worried about his job.
Right. And by the way, not to go too far in the weeds, but that nonsense that he posted over the weekend, I don't know if you all saw this, he posted this like 1,500 character tweet about how they're looking into and going down the rabbit hole of all the conspiracies around the Charlie Kirk shooter. And he's just responding to right-wing social media theories about, even Candace Owen said maybe the shooting came from like a tunnel underneath. I mean, it's batshit crazy, but the fact that
Jews are a burrowing people.
Right,
so.
Right. But the fact that he's responding to it, what this does is a prosecutor, he just opened and exposed himself as a witness because the defense attorney is going to say, oh, that in a trial, they're going to call him as a witness. And they're going to say, so what else was out there? Like they want to create reasonable doubt, and putting that crazy ass tweet out there actually just made the prosecution's case much harder.
So he's bad. All right. So then at the same time here in California, we're heading towards the midterms. Here in California, We're trying to kind of fight to redraw the maps to compete with Republican gerrymandering. What are your thoughts about Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out against Prop 50?
It's not helpful. And I just want to first say I benefited from what Governor Schwarzenegger did. I was a 30-year-old city councilman prosecutor back in 2012 when the first independent redistricting lines were drawn. My parents didn't know a congressman until I got elected, right? Like, so we were not connected politically at all, and the Independent Redistricting Commission gave someone like me a chance. And so a 40-year incumbent who had always had redistricting to protect him got drawn into my hometown. 54% of the district was new because it was drawn by like math and geography. Like what a concept. And so I won. And I'm grateful to that because it brought in a new generation of members of Congress in California. But I'm also not going to wake up the morning after the midterms and watch democracy in ashes and say, well, at least we protected the California Independent Redistricting Commission. Because Democrats too often fight these battles with one hand tied behind our back, and it's usually the upper hand. And we need both hands in this fight, and that's what Prop 50 is about on November 4.
So speaking of Democrats fighting with, at least one hand, we're staring at a shutdown on October 1st. I've seen endless debates about how and whether Democrats should be using their leverage right now, save it for the not for the CR, which is the shorter term continuing resolution, but for the longer term negotiation. I don't think there's easy answers here. I want to start by saying that, and I have allowed myself to be persuaded by the idea that we should be not giving any bipartisan imprimatur to what the Republicans are doing because of what they're doing to our democracy, that we should draw the line on healthcare, or that we should fund the government because Trump is so unpopular we should not own a shutdown. What do you think?
Keep it open for what? I mean, by the way, they've already shut it down. They have fired cancer researchers. They've gotten rid of air traffic controllers. They've gotten rid of FEMA response agents. They've already shut it. They've gotten rid of USAID. They've already shut it down. So keep it open for what? So they can deport more of our friends and neighbors. Keep it open so they can kill cancer research rather than killing cancer. Keep it open so they can go after their political enemies. Like, why would I want to co-sign on that? And that's why I voted against it. And that's why every senator should vote against it.
So I hear that. We cannot... there is no path right now to a vote in which we can fund the government while addressing those issues, right? It's just simply not possible. Right. What Democrats in the Senate have rallied behind is pressing on undoing some of the cuts to healthcare, the biggest public health cut in history, and they want to fight on that measure. And if they get what they want, presumably, they would vote to reopen the government. And I have to think if that came to the House, you would vote for that. No?
I want to end, masked agents getting rid of my friends and neighbors. I want to put the cancer research funding back in place. I want to end the political prosecutions. So there's a lot more that I want to see before I'm going to vote for it. And also, anyone who says oh, politically shutdowns are not good. Remember when the Democrats won the House in 2014 after they shut down the government in 2013? No, we didn't win the House in 2014 after they shut down the government in 2013. So I don't buy this whole argument that like it puts us in political peril by standing up for what we believe in and saying, fuck that, I'm not funding this government.
Yeah, like I guess what I want to understand is that a call to basically have Democrats no longer support any kind of a budget measure until there is a change in Congress, until Republicans fully abandon Trump, right? Like I'm trying to get to the end of...
We should get more than just subsidies, right? And we should ask for more than just subsidies. I mean, it's how I see it. And that's the mindset of most of my colleagues right now. And they also want to see us fight. And it's a show, don't tell mentality. I think that's why Gavin Newsom is being rewarded. He's not sending 8-page strongly worded letters to the administration. He's going to court and he's winning. He put the redistricting battle on the ballot. And so doing something demonstrative, I think, beats just having these theoretical arguments about what we should be doing.
Do you think that the way Schumer and Jeffries were agitating for a meeting was the right way to go into this fight? Or are they drawing a hard enough line right now? Are they the right people to be in this moment?
I'm going to speak for Jeffries has held the House caucus together. I don't have confidence in Schumer. And I didn't have confidence in the first vote. I don't have much confidence right now. But I will say Jeffries held almost all of us together. We only lost one vote in the most recent shutdown vote. But also, it was perfect. They perfectly did set Trump up, right? I mean, they got him to agree to a meeting, and then he disabused us of the taco meme when he backed out of the meeting. So I don't think we need to say anymore because he doesn't want to have a meeting. Enough said.
Okay. I just want us to win,
Yeah. I have a bias toward winning, too.
I have a bias towards winning.
Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Bombas. Follow us here. Kids are back at school. Vacations are over. And it's officially the start of cozy season, which means time to slide into Bombas. You know Bombas, the most comfortable socks and slippers out there, made from premium materials that actually make sense for this time of year. Bombas are made from the softest materials. Think merino wool that keeps you warm when it's chilly but cool when it's hot. Supima cotton that's softer, stronger, and more breathable than regular cotton. And even rag wool, the thick, durable, classic cozy sock you'll want all fall. And it's not just socks. Bombas designed slippers that make it hard to leave the house, from Sherpa-lined Sunday slippers to packing-friendly gripper slippers and even waterproof EVA Friday slides. I have those. They're great. Best part, for every item you buy, Bombas donates one to someone experiencing homelessness. Over 150 million items have been donated thanks to customers. And with their happiness guarantee, if you're not 100% into what you got, they'll make it right. No risk, all reward. Plus, they're available through international shipping to over 200 countries. I'm a huge fan of Bombas. I wear them all the time.
Me too.
All the time. I really like them. I have a bunch of different colored, like a vintage style Bombas socks that I wear with my gym clothes all the time when I go to the gym.
Nice.
Color coordinate my outfits. Puts a little pep in my step. Head on over to bombas.com/loveit and use the code LOVEIT for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/loveit. Code LOVEIT.
So one thing I wanted to talk to you about is, can we show the clip of Schumer talking about the TV thing? Can we start with that one?
Please don't.
I'm showing it.
We know Donald Trump watches a lot of television. Mr. President, if you're watching television, shut it off and come sit down and negotiate with us.
I found this to be not even, that high on the list, but like a pretty cringy moment. And there is some sort of a problem, I think, sometimes with Democrats and cringe. Do you notice this amongst your colleagues?
Yes. We don't all have to be messengers.
We don't all have to be messengers?
Yes.
Okay.
And
can you tell the ones that shouldn't be?
We had at the State of the Union, we brought in, and actually you got the Pod Save team was there. At State of the Union, for the first time ever, we learned our lesson after 2024. Right before it started, we brought in all of these influencers to have access to members right before the State of the Union started. And so rather than going to traditional media, we had tons of folks who had 10,000 followers to 10 million followers, which was great. And that was the approach we should have taken in the past. Credit to our caucus for doing it. What concerned me, though, was it was an invite, a cattle call to all of my colleagues, and I started to see some of these colleagues come in. I was like, no. Like, we don't all have to be messengers, guys. Like, some of you do really good things, but I don't think I need you doing something cringe that's only going to be a 10-yard sack or like a classic pick six. I'm using sports analogies for you, sorry. I know. I know.
I don't even know what those are. Pick six, 10-yard sack. Is that close? Is that hard? Is that difficult? I'm like truly genuine. Like sometimes I play a little dumb, to f it up a little bit. I really actually genuinely don't know what you're. Is it a hard play, but they're not good enough? Is it an easy play? They're messing up. It doesn't matter.
We don't all have to be messengers.
I got it. Which brings us to a segment we're calling The Cringe and I. Okay. We have 5 cringe moments, and you have to rank them from 1, the cringiest, to 5, the least cringe.
Got it.
But it's blind ranking. Once you've given a number, you can't go back.
Okay.
All right. First up, we have Nancy Pelosi reading a poem Bono wrote about Russia's invasion of Ukraine at a St. Patrick's Day event in 2022.
I got this message this morning from Bono. Ireland's sorrow and pain is now the Ukraine, and St. Patrick's name is now Zelensky. About that.
I think 5's a safe bet on
Wow,
this.
5. So you think that there's 4 cringier moments
I do.
coming. Okay, 5. Pelosi. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have the Democrats kneeling in kente cloth during the George Floyd protests in June of 2020. It was given by the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. I want to note that. It was about a Justice and Policing Act, but nevertheless, the moment is the moment.
4.
Kente. Okay, you're doing great. You're doing so good. Next up, Congressman Hank Johnson strumming his guitar and singing a rendition of Jason Isbell's Dreamsicle, with the lyrics changed to be about Epstein.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they?
2.
2. Okay, 2. Honestly, I thought it was pretty good. I thought he did a good job. Next up, we have Hillary Clinton giving America its marching orders in June of 2016.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
That's 3, and I imagine I'm going to be the next clip.
Shut up. I hate this show. It's never supposed to be fun for me. Pokemon. I could, it doesn't have to be, it could be a Heisenberg uncertainty principle moment where you've changed what you were about to observe. I can be cringe too. Everyone eat shit. Next up, we have a member of Congress posting a TikTok of him wordlessly eating a taco in May, a jab at Trump's ever-changing tariffs and the short-lived Dem slogan, Taco Trump always chickens out.
Hey, Congressman.
Trying to help you?
What the fuck is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
What?
Can you get the guy a button?
I don't. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. That's a very 70s look.
No, that's it.
I want to understand. Just wonderful. Inside of the story of the video, where you're a character who's been asked a question, how does eating the taco answer the question? It's a lot to think about. I do sometimes think what cringe though is people caring in a hyper earnest way sometimes. Also, don't we want Trump to chicken out? Isn't the fact that Trump chickens out kind of a thing that people use to say, oh, he doesn't ever do what he ever says? Sometimes I think it's like a bad slogan. Like, we need people to think like, no, he doesn't chicken out. He really does politicize the Justice Department. He really is going to shut down all these agencies. He's not just a bullshit artist. He actually does what he says.
But it's also a psyop, right? You have to get in his head as well. And so there's no easy way to take this guy on. We've never had, a villain like this in the White House who has challenged us in every imaginable way. And so I'm not bullshitting you and to believing that we have the right answer. But I think we have better answers today than we did in 24. And I also believe that we need to apply what I call an always-on model. So in 2024, people would say that the biggest mistake Kamala Harris made was when she went on The View and was asked, what would you do differently? And she said nothing, essentially. I don't think that was the biggest mistake. I think the biggest mistake was that she wouldn't be on TV or interviewed for like 3 or 4 days since that happened. And so she was defined. And right-wing media defined her over and over as it's just more Biden. Donald Trump, for example, makes 5 mistakes an hour, but he's always on. And so the lesson that I've taken away from that is to be in more places, more spaces, and that always on projects as always honest. And so authenticity, I think, beats just having like a straight policy message. We're not voting for policies, we're voting for people, even if it's cringe sometimes. Donald Trump is cringe all the time. I mean, he's cringed 9 out of 10 times. The truck, the McDonald's appearances, the dancing on stage for 30 minutes, but he's always on. And I think we can learn from that instead of trying to project what we think. Right. But I think Democrats, we try and win the Harvard Law School moot court competition rather than just trying to win the gut check at the bar stop or the bar room. And we'd be better off if we did the latter.
I think it's a really important point. As someone who was rejected from Harvard Law School, just to wrap up our game. 5, it was Pelosi's reading the poem. 4, it was the Kente clause. 3, it was Pokemon Go to the polls, which I continue to believe one of the most memorable Democratic slogans in half a century, which I didn't write. 2, Hank Johnson performing his Epstein song. And number 1, it is Eric Swalwell silently eating a taco as the answer to a question. Eric Swalwell, Congressman, thank you so much.
Of course, man.
He'll be back at the end. That was great. Really appreciate it. One more time for Eric Swalwell.
It's love it or leave it.